Well, good morning or good afternoon to everyone, depending on what part of the country you're calling in from. My name is Ginger Bell, and I would like to welcome you to session 4 of our Becoming Independent series. Today, we're going to be focusing on marketing, websites, and social media. And we'd like to welcome you to this webinar. This is a webinar series on how to open your own mortgage business. And across the country, we have been having many originators thinking that it's time to step out and open their own mortgage shop. Many in the industry are coming to the realization that there are many advantages to becoming an independent mortgage broker or a non-delegated correspondent lender. And that's why we created this series, to answer the questions that many are asking about the differences between broker and non-delegated, or the licensing requirements, compliance needs, or marketing platforms that are available today. Personally, I'm getting many calls a week asking, what's the first step? How do I get started? And that's exactly why we're holding the Becoming Independent webinar series, and we're focusing on what it takes to set up your own mortgage shop. So this is the 4th in the series, and we have some great panelists, industry experts who will be covering various topics. But before we get started, I want to cover a few housekeeping items. So for some of you, this may be your first time on a Zoom webinar. I know we often use GoToWebinar, and this is a newer platform we've been using. So I want to make sure that you know how to ask questions. We do have several people that are attending this webinar today, so we do not have audio capability, but you will be able to ask questions. You can listen either on your computer or by dialing in. You can see your audio settings on your box there. So take a look at that. And if you have questions, there's a couple of different places that you can ask questions. You can either type in the Q&A section, or you can type in the chat section. So either one of those are fine. And let's go ahead and check audio and make sure that you all can hear me. And if you can type in what part of the country you are calling in from, that would be great. I'm actually in my home state of Oregon, and it's a beautiful sunshiny day, no rain today. Hopefully the weather is good for you where you are at. But if you can type in what part of the country you're calling in from, that way I make sure that you all can hear us and you also know how to ask questions. So I'm seeing some of you weighing in. That's great. California, I was actually just there earlier this week, and it was a little chilly in Southern California. We had to wear our jackets, which was surprising. Okay, so I see you all can hear me, which is great news, and I want to go ahead and move along then and let you know what we're going to talk about today. And really the goal of this series is to provide you with information, resources, and experts regarding becoming an independent originator, help you determine if this is a viable option for you now, answer the questions that you have, and then provide steps to getting started along with resources to help you. So you can register for the series at independentoriginator.com. This is the 4th in the series. We have one final portion in the series, which will be in June 5th, and you can register for that, and we're going to wrap everything up. And then I think we'll be taking the summer off, but we're looking at starting in the fall, talking about you're started, now what? What's the next step? So if you're interested in that, let us know. And then any other questions you have, let us know, because we want to be able to provide you with different resources. You can get the handouts at mortgagetoolkits.com. And I also have in your chat box there the link to the slide deck, and then I'll be sending up email follow-up. I know when I just looked at the mortgagetoolkits.com, it looks like the drop down to register is not showing correctly. So if you want to wait till the end of the webinar, I'm going to hop on there and get that fixed for you. But you can access today's slide deck on your chat panel. I'm giving you that information there, and you can just click on that link. I'll also send a follow-up that'll come out tomorrow, and it'll be recording too. We're also recording this, so you can listen to it or pass it on to someone else. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce our panelists today. We'll start with Steve. Steve Parnell is a mortgage marketing maven, and he has a professional and educational background in the mortgage origination business that started in 1983. He began his journey into online marketing in 1999 with the release of his first two client generation websites. And he has over 35 years of mortgage experience on both sides of the Atlantic and nearly 20 years of digital marketing. And Steve is uniquely qualified to help you stop chasing mortgage leads and truly build a mortgage origination business. So, Steve, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to hear your information today. And then we also have Matt Coles. Matt is the Plaza Home Mortgage Sales Manager for the Pacific Southwest region. He has nearly 20 years of wholesale experience with job titles that include janitor, funder, customer service rep, AE, and now sales manager. And Matt has a passion for training loan officers and helping educate clients on all different aspects of the mortgage process, from originating to closing. And then we have Jamie Barasco as the Director of Wholesale Development for United Wholesale Mortgage. She is focused on growing the wholesale mortgage channel as a whole, and someone who is very passionate about this. I always love the discussions that we have, Jamie, and all that you do for us in the industry. She's actively advocating and implementing programs and strategies to help accelerate more independent mortgage brokers to join the wholesale market. And nationally, she promotes the advantages within the wholesale mortgage category to mortgage professionals. So thank you all for joining today. We have several steps in getting started, and today we're going to focus on the website and social media aspect of it. And we're going to start out talking about websites, because obviously becoming independent, especially if you're moving out of a retail channel, that's something has been done for you. And so getting started, you'll want to begin by developing a website. So Steve, I'm going to key it off to you and ask, what's the first thing that they need to think about when developing a website?
Well, thank you, Ginger. Thanks for your introduction, and it's a pleasure to be on this webinar series with you. Some of you may think that I speak very strangely, but I am from the extreme northeast, originally born in London, but I've been here in the States in the mortgage business since 1992. But going back to my slide there, start with websites, and you have to ask yourself a question. Everybody has to ask this question, and some of my clients think this is strange. Why do I want a website? But so many people believe that marketing for mortgage business is way too complicated. But my goal for you is to show you that it doesn't have to be as complex. But you have to question yourself, why do I want a website? And more importantly, what do I want my website to do? So if you are coming out of being an originator where you are working in the business, you are writing loans and you're going to make that movement to having your own mortgage business, it's a shift. It's a shift in your thinking. So the first questions I would like to ask everybody is, where do your mortgage leads come from? Traditionally, mortgage originators start out with obtaining their business from introductory sources, from referrals, from real estate agents, from builders, and that's superb. That gets you on the right track. But if you're going to build a business, you need to really look at being able to predict business flow, predict lead flow. And if you're going to use your business to recruit other people, which I'm sure that's part of the process, you're going to look at having to feed them too. So some other sub-questions, where do your mortgage leads come from? Where do you want them to come from? And where do your potential clients check you out? Well, 90% of mortgage applicants start looking for a mortgage online, no matter how they came to you as an originator. So you have to make a choice early on as to which path you'll take. Do you want a great web presence? Are you going to use the web as a true business generating platform, or is it just a brochure for you? But which one you choose, and neither is wrong. It depends on your path. Neither is wrong, but you do need to make that choice. And if you're going to build a mortgage business, my belief, my experience, and my passion is that you need to have a great website, because how your website is designed, what technologies it uses, even down to color choice, what content it has, how it captures any interested borrowers, and perhaps most importantly, how it reflects you and your brand are just a few of the most important considerations you need to have addressed. So you have to make that choice. Do you want to get all embraced and go out there and make it an absolute must for you that your web presence is superb? Or are you happy just to have a template website that just reflects you and a way to contact you? Nothing wrong with either, but I would suggest that making that decision in the beginning is a good idea. Some of the things that you need to think about with any website, whether it's a very customized lead generating operation or just a brochure, is what do you want Google to see? What do you want Google to do with your website? Is it important for you to be ranked? There's so many differences. That what's come out lately, and the problem with it is Google, of course, are in command of how you're seen on the web, to all intent and purpose. And what does Google want? So some of the things to think about now that have changed with Google is they rank websites on things that perhaps you hadn't thought about, but I'd like to make you think a little bit about this. Is Google are now looking at websites and saying, what makes this website better than the 54 million other mortgage websites that are out there? And I don't exaggerate too much in that. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty accurate number. So Google is now looking at direct website visits. How many people actually don't search you, but actually go direct to your website? So that brings in, how are you as a mortgage originator going to get visitors to your website that actually don't find you on Google? That's a very important question. Second is time on your website. How long does a visitor spend on your website? Because that gives Google an indication of how interested or how you capture their interest when they're on the website. And there are several ways to look at that. How many pages per visitor? So when a visitor comes to your website, do they land on your homepage or somewhere inside in your rates page or whatever it may be and just bounce straight off again? Or do they visit other pages? And that brings us back to Google's last but most important ranking factor is bounce rate. How many visitors just come on and within seconds leave again, i.e. making the decision that you're just not giving them what they thought they were getting. And Google is no longer a search engine. It's a relevance engine. They actually don't care about you or me as providers of this content. They care about the visitor, because it's the visitor that makes Google its revenue, gives Google its revenue. How many people can they get to go back on a regular basis and feel happy with Google? So they're looking at many different things. There's two other things to look at with the website right away is you have to make it secure now. HTTPS, the little green padlock, is an absolute requirement. Later this year, any website that does not have a secure foundation is going to get an insecure or not secure warning for anybody using Chrome, the Chrome browser. So you must make it secure. The other thing is all about speed and putting mobile first. So there's a technology out there called AMP, or accelerated mobile pages. And everything you do, your website, again, coming back to your choices of all-embracing business development channel or just a brochure, it needs to be fast and it needs to be built for mobile users. So that's the overall thoughts I want to put in your head about what you need for a website. And I'm going to be able to provide lots more education for you as the months go by, if you're interested on what you need to do, just what you need to do. So I'm happy to do that.
Great. And I know you talked about SEO, and you have a unique opportunity within the mortgage industry to be able to help originators increase their SEO. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, SEO, as it says there, in 2018 is not what you remember. It's not keyword stuffing. We've always spoke about AMP and what Google want. And SEO tactics change drastically all the time. So what's the plan for 2018? Well, two parts: organic long-term growth. And if you are going to build a mortgage business, if you're going to build an operation that lasts, you need to think about two things. Obviously, you've got to bring in business, and you've got to bring in business early enough to sustain your operation. And that comes from paid type business acquisition. And we'll come to that in a moment. But if you want long-term growth, content creation. If you provide, it goes back to this pages per session that the visitor views on your site and bounce.
Right.
You need to create content that is going to bring people back, that keeps them there because they're learning. You're educating them. And you mentioned this unique opportunity, if you like. The technology in identifying who visits your website is growing at an exponential rate at the moment. Everybody knows, or most everybody knows, that if you've done any advertising online, you can do something called remarketing, where you identify, or you put a cookie in the browser of anybody that visits your website, and you follow them around the web, and you can keep putting yourself in front of them. But these cookies, they belong to whoever you've put them on there. So if you're talking about a Google cookie, that only works in Google. If you're talking about a Facebook cookie, it only works with Facebook. But there are now ways that you can identify who has come to your site, whether they actually complete any kind of lead generation form or make any self-identifying application to you. You are going to be able to use what's called identity resolved targeting. And it starts off with using, I'm going to get a little bit deep now, but we can come back at any time. Deterministic data means that you don't have to guess who's in the market for a mortgage anymore. You will be able to know who's in the market and target them in your geographic area. And that allows you to eliminate wasteful ad spend, because you're only marketing to the people who are in market for a mortgage in your geographic area. It lets you eliminate all of the advertising that's never going to work. So it lowers your cost of client acquisition. It increases your conversion rate. But people say, so, okay, what results can I expect with that? Well, it's a process. If you're starting out from scratch with a new website, you've got to get visitors there. And that comes back to what I said earlier, direct website visits. How do you market your website? And there are so many ways for you to do that now that just didn't exist a year ago even. And with this deterministic data and ID resolved targeting, it's a subject for another webinar, but anybody who's on this webinar that would like to really get into the weeds on this, I do have a 4-part video series that I can send you the link to. It's completely free and it's educational. So you can just go there and you can actually get to understand how you're able to identify people and what that means for you for growing your business.
Right. And so, one of the things, Steve, looking at this, for those who are becoming independent, they don't want to spend a lot of time on this. And so being able to work with someone like you could help them to be able to manage some of that, right?
Absolutely. And I will help anybody. I've been doing it for a long, long time, both in the mortgage business as an originator and on the marketing side. So I'm really happy to share that with anybody. And just the early days of your website creation. Should you have a blog? How do you put content into your blog? Get your social media profiling set up, your keyword selection, your basic technical SEO that you just have to do. I can help you with all that. I can actually do it for you, or I can just educate you on what you can do yourself. And I'm very happy to do that. So I've been doing that for a long time.
Excellent. Thank you. So once you have your website up, the next portion is managing social media. And Matt, you have been very involved in helping your clients be able to learn the tools and the tricks and the trades of managing social media. So, as far as them getting started, what do you recommend? The where, the how, the what of social media today?
All right. Well, thank you, Ginger. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on this panel. And, I have a lot of clients that overthink social media. I think it's for a younger generation, and really it's the new business card. And I'm sitting here at my desk in my office, and I went to a trade show on Thursday of last week, and I was handed probably about 200 business cards. Each one of them is individually crafted, has a photo on it. They chose the stock, what paper they wanted to use. They chose what logo they wanted to use. And the same effort that they can put into their business card these days should be put into the social media accounts as well. Create yourself an image. And it doesn't always have to be mortgage related. In fact, I work with a client right now that is very, very successful. And one of the most often asked questions to him is, hey, since you're so successful, how do you have time to get your exercise in or be with your family? And those are the type of tips that he shares on his social media account. And I asked him, I'm like, what gets more views? What gets more likes? And his lifestyle actually gets more views and likes than what the mortgage business side of it does. They're more interested in his lifestyle than anything else. And that comes back to, the biggest thing about being in social media is just to be authentic, be bold and be unique. We're all individuals in this business. We're not really on the sexy side of the business, right? In the mortgage side, we don't get to go to the real estate listings all the time, and we don't get to work with the buyers and the sellers as they're going through the real estate transaction. We're on the loan side and on the mortgage side. And so really what you want to do is you want to create your own individual personality. Share your passions. A lot of my clients on social media are putting their charity events out there, their kids' soccer game. It's just a deeper level of connection that you're able to make. And it's all about being engaging. When you engage with your realtors, what I'm talking about there is to ensure that you're liking their comments, following them, sharing their information, commenting on their listings. And I have a client right now that every Saturday and Sunday, he does a great job. He goes out to his realtor base and he does a Facebook Live from every open house that they go to. And I'm watching the people that are attending those Facebook Live events, and you're talking about 50, 60, 70 people that are watching those as he walks into the house, talks to the realtor, and shows the house. Those are 50, 60, 70 followers that borrower, that realtor might not have got to see on that day. And it's not just realtors. And that's the other thing that I wanted to really hit on, is that be active with all your contacts within social media. You work with insurance agents, you work with contractors, builders, escrow title, your lenders, your attorneys. There's so many people that go into a mortgage that we need to be engaging with all of them in order to create the community that we're looking for. And so one of the things that is most important, for social media, the websites that you need to be a part of, the apps that you need to be a part of are Instagram, just the simple photos, create hashtags, make yourself have a following. Facebook obviously is the most popular one. Knowing how to create Facebook ads is really important on the mortgage side of the business. People that know how to create Facebook ads are definitely having more success than those that don't. LinkedIn, Google Business, these are all great websites in order to grow your presence on social media. The most important thing that I see a lot of my clients doing is people like to do business when they see that they're doing good business. So a very successful client of ours down in Arizona, every Tuesday without fail, puts Testimonial Tuesday out there. And it's just a simple quote from one of her past clients that says, "Hey, you've done an amazing job. Thank you for your help. I highly recommend you." That simple post gets 400 to 500 views and 1 to 200 likes and 3 to 5 shares on a weekly basis. That's a deep, deep connection that she's making with her social media content right there. And make it easy to engage. And this is something that Steve and I talked about previously. There's a form that every website has that says contact us, and you go onto it, and there's a fill in your first name, last name, email address, information that a lot of people just aren't going to simply fill out. Make it easy to contact you. Put your Facebook page on there. Put your LinkedIn link on there. Put your Instagram logo on there. Whatever it might be, let me get in touch with you the easiest way possible. Don't make me fill out a form in order to get in touch with you. That is really the best thing about social media. Through Facebook, through Instagram, through LinkedIn, you can have direct messages and you can have immediate contact with somebody that's looking to do business.
Well, and engagement is so important too. And the next thing we're going to talk about is video. And I know video is so important. It's everything. And when talking about engaging, I think one of the keys is really not just to make it about you, but to really make it about them. So, do a video of a customer, maybe a first-time home buyer, and, sit down and interview them and then, create a video for them. Maybe, hire someone that goes and videotapes them, looking at houses or going into their, when they buy their first house, walking in, and then create that video for them with obviously your branding and your marketing on it, and give it to them because they're more likely to share it when you do that, right? So, some of the things that are working in video is not just necessarily about what you're doing, but really making it about the customer. So what do you find that's working in video?
So it's really, it's great that you hit on that, Ginger, because there is a client out there that does an amazing video on a once a month basis where it's just simply them hugging the new homeowners that he just helped close. And he puts it together. It's a montage format. It can't be more than 35 to 45 seconds long. And it just makes a deeper emotional connection with the people that you're looking to do business with. Showing your face, having that human side to it, it's way better than having a phone call or an email. It just makes a deeper level of human communication. I do videos on a daily basis. And listen, I am not George Clooney over here, but you just go live with it.
Right.
You know what I say? Like you document your life. You don't create the life, right? So I don't sit in front of, my Plaza Home Mortgage banner, and it's not an advertisement. It's me walking my dog talking about the mortgage industry, right? So my dog actually probably has a bigger following than anyone else in my LinkedIn. So you don't have to have the perfect lighting for it. Don't have to have the perfect background. It's just all about the human connection. Hey, I'm out here. I'm walking my dog. I'm thinking about mortgages. Here's what I wanted to share with you. And it just really goes a long way. And I haven't tried this yet, but I do have a lot of clients, like I said earlier, that go live. And you would be amazed that every time you go live on Facebook, there must be an alert or something that pops up. People check in to see, okay, well, why is Matt Coles going live? What is he doing that's so great? Oh, look, he's walking into an open house. There's just that deeper level of commitment. And now you're sharing that with your realtors, and you're getting there and helping them grow their business as well. The most important thing for me that I think when you're doing video, be consistent with it and be brief with it. I don't know if it's just me. I'm not going to watch a 7-minute video. Okay. So my videos that I try to do are no longer than a minute long, keeping it brief and keeping it on a consistent level, and create a follow. Make yourself have a hashtag. I know it sounds silly, but do a hashtag. I brand myself as Minute with Matt, right? So if you go on and you search Minute with Matt, you'll find me on there. It's just a great way to brand yourself.
Right, and hashtags they're really important too, because it's really becomes that filing system for searching. So when people are searching for something and they want to go in and see what you're doing, then they can put that in and it comes up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a neat, there's a lot of times when a video will go live, you're like, oh, that's great content. I can't save it right now. But if you remember what the hashtag is, which is pretty easy a lot of times, if it's a catchy hashtag, then it's going to be easy for you to go back and find out the information.
Right. And we've included a link to Matt's Minute with Matt. And I love the title, Kicking It Old School. And that's the other thing, too, when you're putting these together, make the titles to where they're interesting. So people want to look at it and say, oh, what's that about? I love the fact that it's a minute because people will watch if it is short. If it gets too long, like you said, then they're less likely to watch it.
Yeah, I use an app called BombBomb, and through the app, I'm able to track how long people are engaged with the video. And it is clear to me on the rare occasion that I've gone over 2 minutes, which I don't really do anymore, that the drop-off is pretty significant.
Right. Excellent. Well, great information. Thank you. And I want to kick it over to Jamie now. And I know UWM has some incredible resources available to help a mortgage broker getting started. And Jamie, you've done a great job as far as putting together kind of a 30, 60, 90-day plan for them. So starting with that 30-day plan, what does that look like for them to get started for their website and their social media and their marketing?
Thank you, Ginger, and thanks again for allowing me to participate in this today. And yes, and in the first 30 days, the way I've broken it down is really there's 5 steps that go into building your marketing plan. And so that's kind of where it starts. So you want to first, identify what are the top 3 benefits that make you different. What is it going to be that sets you apart from the competition? And immediately, and a benefit as an independent is you're shopping on behalf of the consumer. You're taking those extra steps out of the way. Maybe you have, more Google reviews or recommendations than somebody else in your market. So identifying those 3 benefits is really your starting point. And then, of course, your target audience, right? So you want to be where your audience is. So that's going to be your guide when you kind of decide what your media plan is going to be, your PR campaigns, all of that all entail. Identified based on who you're targeting, and then goals are so important. So we all fall short on doing this, but it's very important to write them down. We all say that about so many things in our life, but it's so true, especially when it comes to marketing, because then you're able to go back to what you wanted to achieve. What percent of calls, applications, closings. Maybe you want to reduce the time that it takes for you to get documents back from your borrower to get the loan into underwriting, or getting them to the table faster. All of these things are very important with implementation, as well as how your goals will come together and how you will evolve from there in your business. And then you, of course, want a strategy, making sure you're nurturing your relationship with current clients and prospects. Making sure you communicate a little different to them, making sure that you identify that it is a specialty, that you're providing them a service, and that you are their, lending consultant, but really making sure that that strategy and your tactics are consistent, but making sure you're nurturing the relationships along the way. And then, of course, the word nobody really loves, but a budget is necessary. A budget should not deter you from starting. So you've got to get started no matter how small the budget is. You're a brand new business, so we get it. You're not going to have this huge marketing budget. Well, maybe not everyone will have a huge marketing budget day one, but work with what you have and outsource when you can, because we all know that when it comes to time, we don't always have as much as we'd like to have when it comes to that as well. So that kind of sums up the first 30 days. And then as you move into, your 30 to 60 day implementation, that really is the key, is now you kind of have the benefits of what you want to do. Now we have to go to market and we have to create a brand identity. So some people kind of ask, well, what is a brand identity? Well, it really is implementing what you've identified, the benefits of what you offer that set you apart, right? So implementing that brand identity helps the company create its own image of itself to the consumer. And consistency is key. So when you create new forms of media, make sure your brand is identifiable no matter what. So once you create that brand recognition on every piece of anything that goes out, that consistency would be there. And there's some really inexpensive, great resources out there that startup businesses can take advantage of for the simple things. Maybe you just want to start with a logo. I feel like that's the first thing that we want to do for brand identity. In fact, there's a website, it's called Fiverr, Fiverr.com. That's Fiverr.com. I actually just came across it, several months ago, and it's a website you can go in and you can have other design professionals bid for a logo, and it's as least expensive as $15. Someone will create a logo for you, and of course upwards to whatever you want in terms of design. But there's some great resources that you should be taking advantage of to really, day one, create that brand identity. And I know that I think it was Steve had mentioned, 90+% I think is what he said, as mortgage applicants go to the web or go to, search for mortgages. Well, just look at it as a small business. You're now, as an independent, a small business in your market. So 97% of consumers go to the web to search locally in their own market. So it's really important, obviously, as we mentioned, to have that brand identity so that you don't have that bounce rate he talked about them clicking right off of your website, and making sure you're really shining with what those benefits are that you can offer. And then, of course, you have to have a social presence, right? So social media that Matt had spoken about. I mean, it's really deciding which social platform you are going to commit to, and then being consistent. So being consistent is implementing. So making sure once you make the commitment that, yes, I'm going to do Facebook, and maybe I am or am not going to do videos, whatever you decide to do, then go with it, implement it all the way through.
Excellent. So before we move on, Jamie, what was that website again? And I'll post it up in the chat box for everyone.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's www.fi, V as in Victor, ERR.com.
Great.
Yeah.
So now let's moving into your 60 and 90-day plan. What do they need to focus on?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, the consistency, I cannot stress enough. It's almost like when you start your new business, you have to look at it as a 30 to 90-day process just to get your license, get your compliance, everything that this webinar series has done such a great job covering. But the second 30, 60, 90 days, that next 3 months of your new business is a devotion to this. And that's what this plan is actually identifying. So we have a saying that, you definitely make sure that not only are you consistent, but analyze what you're doing to make sure it's working. But don't give up on any one platform. Keep it up for the full 90 days. And then what you want to do from there is you execute, right? You analyze, you measure it, and then you repeat. And it's that cycle that you constantly want to go through, making sure you execute, you analyze, you measure your results, and you repeat. And you go through that, making sure that that is consistent throughout that time. Your marketing plan should evolve as you see performance results. And it's just as simple as that.
Excellent. So UWM has some incredible resources available, from websites to videos to flyers. So can you share some of the great tools that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll flip through these pretty quickly. So the first thing you're seeing is, first, we talked about it. What social media platforms are you going to start with? So we've just made it really easy to kind of help you get started with some helpful links and kind of driving you to the resources of how to get started with some of these social platforms. So we have some videos and some tutorials that are available. In addition, moving to the next slide, we have some quick talks. So these are, again, more specific tutorials that go into some of the features that we have available. We have free quarterly marketing we do for our clients. So it talks about that, how to customize a specific flyer, how to post social content to social media. And then the next piece is using our marketing calendar as well. So this is just a quick snapshot on this screen here. And this is our full marketing toolbox. This is free and available to all of our client base. And honestly, it's just content. I mean, it's all flyers, social posts, email templates, videos. We don't brand UWM on any of this. This is for the independent in the market to be able to not have to spend the time, honestly, to come up with the content and have the time to have to go through it. It's beautifully done. They can put their branded logo on it and then send it out. And then they have actually, the next slide will show you, we've developed a calendar as well, which is really great. So take the thinking out of it. Take the excuses out of implementation, really, is what this does. So month after month, you're able to go in here. There's a link. You can click on a sample of, what the May 1st purchase post looks like and decide if you want to use it. And then simply with one click, it'll drive you directly to any social platform that you're in. So we honestly tell our clients that, this is a plug and play system, and it really only takes 10 minutes a day. Just, give yourself a commitment of 10 minutes a day in the morning before you get bogged down in emails, and jump in and get some content out there, and again, be consistent with it.
Some incredible tools. And I know Steve talked about the importance of websites, and that's actually a resource that UWM provides as well, to be able to gain access to an affordable website. So can you share a little bit of information about that?
Yeah, and there's some pretty strong players out there, but we basically partnered with Lender Homepage. They've been in our industry for a very, very long time. And I say partnered, meaning we negotiated a discount. So you can get a 50% discount off of a templated website with Lender Homepage through a discount with UWM. And it's as simple as that. It's available to anybody who's an independent, whether you're signed up with us or not, to be honest with you. So take advantage of that, and use your resources when you can.
Great. Now you have a new resource that you've recently launched, so I'll let you talk about that because it's very exciting.
It is very exciting, and it's findamortgagebroker.com. So this is a really exciting platform that, as you mentioned, we launched. The site, actually, the URL site itself had been in existence for about a year and a half, and so we redeveloped the site to really be educational content. And our initiative with this is simply providing realtors and consumers an opportunity where they can come learn of why the benefits of working with an independent would be. And most importantly, they can find you, right? So if you're an independent, they can, as a realtor, they can even search by the property address. Maybe it's a unique situation and they want to find somebody directly in that market because they may be upstate, or maybe they just are looking for that next opportunity to have a referral partner. So we're pushing this to realtors as well as the consumer, obviously, to make sure they understand what the difference is. And then just so you know, this is a site that's absolutely free. It means that nobody that's listed in the search results have to pay for anything. We literally have used this site as a landing page to pull all registered and licensed mortgage brokers. And of course, we verified that they are true brokers and or non-delegated correspondents. And then their NMLS information was tagged to this website. So this is a free resource that we hope will continue to help to grow the channel as a whole.
Excellent. Thank you. So if you have questions, type them in your chat box or in your Q&A box, and we'll go ahead and address those now as they come up. And so one of the questions that came up is, as far as, building a website, how many pages are you looking at? Steve, I know that's your expertise. So, do they need something that's like, 5-6 pages? What's kind of the standard that they need for a website?
Thanks, Ginger. Yeah, it depends on their choices going in as to whether they actually want the website to be a business generating operation on its own, or whether it's just an about them. If you're looking for something, and if you're using a simple template, you can have 4 or 5 pages is fine. That's all you need to tell any visitor your background and your experience and what you do. That's fine. If you want to use the website to actually generate business and for people to reach out to you, to give you some information so that you can actually do something for them, that's a whole different ball game. If you look at the technologies if you look at the national lenders, just look at Quicken and Lending Tree and all of those guys out there that spend millions of dollars a month on, they use technologies to capture the potential borrower. But all those technologies are actually available to you or to anybody on this call, the same technologies. And we're not talking about, you don't need to spend millions of dollars a month to use them. You may need to spend some money to get people there to fill them in, but you can have that technology available to you. So how many pages do you need? You can start with 4 or 5 and build from there. And again, if you're going to get into a long-term web identity, then you need to put content on the site. You need to have a news section or a blog section. And Matt's got some great ideas there for how you how you create the content to put onto your blog or your news section. And it doesn't, as he says, it doesn't have to always be about the mortgage business. Human interest is what sparks human interest. If it's got a mortgage real estate tint to it, of course, that's just added gravitas for you. But 4 or 5 to start and build up from there.
Right. So we focus a lot on, marketing and social media as far as for borrowers. But how about the difference between what you're doing, Matt, and a lot of your videos that would go out to realtors? Do they need to do something different for that? Is it better on LinkedIn? What's some of the social strategy there?
So the realtors, for lack of a better term, they're focused a lot on the glitz and the glamour. And what I see as successful is quick hits, like, hey, this program helps put more people in houses. What's the goal of a realtor? The goal of a realtor is to put more people into more expensive homes. It's really it, right? That's what they want to do. They want to sell more homes at a higher price. So whatever value you can deliver when you answer that most basic question, that's really what you're trying to get out to your realtor base. For me personally, I think most people, if you keep it brief, like we talked about it, you're going to, like what Steve just said, human interest is going to gain human interest. There's a lot of, I can give you a handful of examples of people who simply are doing business because, hey, I saw your video online, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and you're just, all I'm doing is generating a phone call, and then from there, I'm growing the business from that point. It's just an organic piece that's starting off the relationship.
Excellent. So if you do have additional questions, you can contact one of our panelists, and I'm let them share their information now. So Steve, just real quick highlights why someone would reach out to you and want to do business with you.
Well, if you're looking, if you really want a web presence that is going to generate business for you, that's what I do. Help you identify your ideal borrower, so you're not getting people who want to shop you to death for an eighth of a point, that you can actually attract the people that you want to. And attracting the people that you want to really comes down to your identity, identifying what is your unique value proposition, what is your only factor. And everybody's got one. Really, everybody has one. And just a 15-minute conversation, I can help you come up with your unique value proposition, your only factor. And if that's the only thing we do together, well, great, good on you. And you use it and make great origination business for the future. But if you want to develop a mortgage generating presence online, then I'll be happy to help you.
Excellent. And Matt, Plaza, incredible wholesale lender, provides some great programs. So share some information about Plaza and contact information.
Yeah, so thanks again for the opportunity today. So Plaza Home Mortgage has been around since 2000. We're dedicated to the wholesale channel. We're non-Del hotel. We have no retail focus. And what we do is, our model is local. We have local AEs, local branches in order to help you really dive in. A local AE coming into your office and helping you build out your marketing plan. That's kind of the strength of Plaza Home Mortgage. We're really focused on growing the broker side of the business, and I really appreciate everything that's being done in this market and what you're trying to do here. It's been a fantastic model. I was in the wholesale industry in early 2000s. I'm really thrilled to see that it's coming back in a big roar right now. My contact information is I'm always going to be available. You can always reach out to me. It's matt.coles@plazahomemortgage.com. If you're not in my local territory, I'll put you out to one of our local AEs, and they'll be in touch with you right away. And we're a really great home for your business going forward.
Great. Thank you, Matt. And Jamie, finally, UWM, great supporter of mortgage brokers. So share some information about UWM.
Yeah, thank you so much again for this and everything that you're doing for the industry. And, everybody, I think, knows who we are in the industry as a whole. We are the #1 wholesale lender for being really a big advocate for the pro broker. But getting in touch with me personally, this is what I do every day. My role, my commitment to Wholesale is helping people get their new business off the ground. So if this is the jump that you're going to make, I have all resources from the ground up of what you would need. In addition, and some of them are the same resources this webinar series has provided, which has been a really great opportunity for us to come together. So if you'd like to reach out to me and I can help share a checklist of items that help you get started to get your new business off the ground, absolutely would love to help you. You can email me. I have a team email address. I have a team that helps me with this endeavor. So it's WDT. That stands for Wholesale Development Team. So that's WDT@uwm.com. Or, of course, you can always reach me directly, which is jbarashko@uwm.com as well. And I'd be happy to help and share our resources with you.
Great, thank you. And thank you to Steve and Matt and Jamie. We really appreciate all the information. And I want to share a new association that has started a few months ago. It's called AIME, the Association of Independent Mortgage Experts. And Anthony Casa is the president and has been a great supporter to be able to really drive this. I know I talked to Anthony the other day, 10,000 members already, which is incredible, but it's a great resource. If you are independent or looking to become independent, you should join. And I know that there are regional meetings that are happening. They had one in California last month. One happening in Denver next month. And so a great resource, and I'm working with AIME as well to be able to provide some additional resources. So an incredible association to be involved with. And we have this handout that you can get at mortgagetoolkits.com. You can check off as many boxes of the sessions. If you haven't been on our previous sessions, you can get the handouts and listen to the recordings from those if you register on this site. And we do have one more in the series, which will be June 5th. You can register at independentoriginator.com. So we want to thank all of our partners who have helped to be able to make this series possible. And we've shared a lot of information along the way. We're going to do a wrap-up of everything on June 5th and have some additional experts on talking about going on to that next phase. And of course, working with our wholesale lenders are a great resource because as an independent, you are not in business alone. You have access to all of these great tools. And if you are a retail originator considering becoming independent and you're concerned about the resources that you've had available to you and going out on your own. I can tell you now we live in a world where there are a lot of resources. We're pulling those together, and that's really our goal in doing that is pulling all those resources together for you and creating a team. So again, I want to thank all of our panelists and all of you who are on the webinar today, and we wish you all a great and safe Memorial Day weekend because it is summer. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you on the next webinar.